The media has done their very best to protect Disney at all costs. They do not want to get on this company's bad side because they want to continue to get early screenings and be able to put out their reviews days before average people. And now Forbes has put up another attack saying anti woke Star Wars fans are being weird about the Acolyte. I have a few things to show off, but if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, of course, it's never just as simple as, oh, hey, there's a group of people who don't like this series. It's always we're being weird or we're being ists and phobes. It's never something simple. It's okay when they dislike something, but not when we dislike something. This is by Danny D. Placido. It says a powerful Sith, a compelling mystery, and a thrilling lightsaber battle. The Acolyte is proving to be one of the strongest stories of the Disney Star Wars era, but anti-woke fans are being extremely weird about the show. Yeah, because a lot of the sets do not look good. The main villain so far is kind of a flop. I wouldn't say that there is a compelling mystery here, and while we did get one, I would describe it as an okay lightsaber battle. In my opinion, I think it is way overhyped. I definitely do not think it's one of the best, if not the best, Star Wars lightsaber battle we've ever seen. There are just too many other good ones to count, and the Acolyte in totality is not a good story so far. It just is not what a lot of people wanted, and hey, there are clearly a few people out there who like it, which I'm glad that this show has been made for a couple of people, but I thought companies wanted to make money, and this is not the way to do so. Pumping out shows like The Acolyte are a major problem. While I am fine, and many people are fine with seeing female-centric projects, we just know Disney's MO, Leslie Headland's MO, the actresses that they're hiring, they only are creating series like The Acolyte to push certain narratives. Of course, we have the pronoun nonsense. We have them being strong, independent females who don't need help from anybody else. Of course, we have just a lot of unfortunate elements that were added. And if those were not part of this, I think a lot more people would have been a lot more open-minded to this series, but that just didn't happen. The lesbian space witches turned a lot of people off because an average person doesn't care about any of that nonsense, especially when it's another new group of witches, when they could have went for a already existing group like the Dothamiri shamans. It's just not what people wanted or what people expected from Star Wars, but this is the problem. This is why we keep our expectations extremely low, because if you expect the worst, you're never going to be disappointed. It says, though, what happens in episode 5 of The Acolyte? It is both boasting a tense battle with the masked Sith using his helmet to deflect lightsaber hits and even short-circuit the deadly weapons. Despite being outnumbered, the Sith ruthlessly mowed down his opponents. The battle results in a surprisingly high number of fatalities. I will give them that. They were definitely not afraid to kill off characters, which I have felt in the past with Disney Star Wars has been an issue. So they did take at least that little piece of feedback into consideration, but at the same time, we've got 50 other problems. Like, we've got the long-lost twins Osha and May, Amandla Stenberg, clashing over their value systems. May is attempting to reconcile with her dogmatic sister, but Osha stubbornly clings to the narrative that the Jedi told her and rejects May. So they're saying that people should be more okay with this big family feud, right? Because that's all this really cracks up to be, is a manipulative antagonist, a family feud, and as they say, a tense lightsaber duel that introduces a creative new fighting technique. The issue with modern Star Wars is that we're seeing this, right? creating new fighting techniques. We're talking about breaking canon. We're talking about making severe alterations. And yes, understandably, you cannot continue to repeat the same story with the same battle over and over. But you've gotten so far away from what people knew Star Wars as that this is really just a hollow shell of what Star Wars was. And of course, Forbes here doesn't care. Forbes is saying that this is ridiculous nonsense and that people are simply being weird because they don't like it, which is hilarious because while Forbes has quite a lot of really bad entertainment writers, they also have Eric Kane, a really good journalist, in my opinion, who has continued to trash this series, even saying he does not like it. So is, Danny over here attacking her fellow Forbes writer? Is that really what they're doing? Because Eric Kane had just said the Acolyte continues a long, tragic Star Wars tradition, ruining the Jedi, which I totally and completely agree with. This is a major problem we are seeing is the ruination of Jedi, and it's something that I don't want to see. While I always root for the villains because I feel when villains have these like really intense, tragic backstories, they're more interesting characters. I also want to be able to root for the Jedi and know that they're a Jedi, know that they're a good guy, and not see them continuously crap on a legacy and something like the hero's journey. I mean, as you can see, Eric Kane is being brutal here, saying this is not what people wanted. We even have comparisons to the Rings of Power. On the left, we have young Galadriel from Rings of Power, played by Morfydd Clark, but decked in heavy plate armor and wearing a fancy elven blade on her back, and on the right, we have Cate Blanchett's Elven Queen from the trilogy in the Lord of the Rings movie. She is presented as faithfully to the source material as is humanly possible. She's beautiful, ethereal, and mysterious. She is at once a source of courage for the Fellowship and somewhat terrifying when she meets with Frodo by her mirror. But yeah, you do not forget her. But in the Rings of Power, they completely transform her into the chief protagonist, and in doing so, it is much diminished. She's a warrior here, the general of armies, and rather than mysterious and partially terrifying, she's petulant and boastful, and this is what we have seen out of Jedi over the past few years, and it is sad to see this happen, and so many people agree. Now, of course, there is nothing an outlet like Forbes could do that would surprise me at this point. There are tons of media outlets going to bat for Disney, but you know what is weird? Is defending a company that doesn't care about you and your opinion, and the only reason why you are talking positively about their series is because you want to stay on their PR list, because you want to see shows early, because you want access to promotional material, and that is absolutely pathetic and overall just weird. So Forbes can sit here and say that we as fans are being weird about the Acolyte, even though we're simply criticizing decisions that they've made that we as fans do not like, because I've always said this, if Disney one day decided to start listening to us, while I don't think they could ever get back to the height of Star Wars and really capture the magic in totality, I think they could at least pump up their viewership numbers a little bit by appearing to actually care about what we have to say, but they clearly don't care about what we have to say. They've proven it time and time again, and the only viewers they've got rooting for them at this point are the journos, who are most likely paid to shill for them. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.